Bookaholics is a safe place for reading junkies who obsess over books, authors, bookstores, book news, and book trivia. We'll nerd out with book reviews, author interviews, our habit, and other bookish things. Here is your host, Deirdre Pippins.
Hi, Portia. Welcome to the Bookaholic podcast.
Hi.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you here as part of the Writers Workshop. You know, a lot of avid readers, rather, are struggling writers. And so I just wanted to bring attention to this. I've done this all year in 2022 to put a focus on helping people who may want to become authors.
The struggle is real. Let's start there. But I think it's a good topic. It's really good that you want to discuss this because I think there are important aspects that most avid readers don't realize.
Right. Well, let's dive right into it. Why did you want to be a publisher? How did you come to this journey?
You know that phrase when they say this, I didn't choose this life chose me.
Oh,
That's what happened.
okay. All right.
I started out as an editor, a freelance editor,
Okay.
and I was doing that for quite some time, but I started to notice that with every project, the author would ask me to do a little bit more and a little bit more to get them further to actually publishing. Editing is just the beginning. So then I was being asked to format. I was being asked if I could design a cover, which I didn't know how to do. Then eventually I was asked, Portia, can you just help me publish it? I'm like, I have no idea how to do it, but I didn't want to let the author down. So I researched, I scooped up some mentors along the way, and I just started independent publishing. And I really dove into the process of that and the technicality behind it. So I've been able to become an independent publishing expert. So that's my jam.
Wow. Wow. That's certainly, I guess you just followed one thing to another. And like you said, it chose you. And so here you are. Well, I took a look at your website, which I really like, the Mystique Rose Publishing Services. We bring your book to life. And I really like that. You know, you have three basic scenarios: brainstorm, create, and sell. So let's dive into those three categories, the brainstorming part. So a person can actually come to you and your team and think out the idea.
Exactly, because we have a very specific way that we settle on an idea. Unfortunately, people who want to write, they have this idea and they think it's going to be great because maybe they've been thinking about it for some time or they ran it past a couple family members and friends and they're going to be like, that's an awesome book. And unfortunately, when those people publish those books, they flop. They don't
Yeah.
sell. And people who do read them, they don't leave reviews, they don't comment. Well, the reason behind that is writers never look at the intention behind the idea. Everybody has a great book idea. I would say the average author has about 5 or 6 book ideas floating around in their head,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
every idea must have an intention so that your readers walk away with something, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. There must be a purpose. That's the only way you're going to sell. If you write without intention, you're wasting your time.
Wow. Well, okay, so let's I'm trying to think. I thought all books kind of had a purpose or an intention. I guess books after the fact. But like even with people's ideas for books, I thought most of them were geared with the purpose. Can you give us an example of a scenario maybe that you faced with that, with somebody thinking an idea was great, but then it didn't have any purpose?
Sure. Okay.
You don't have to
Okay.
name names or anything, but I'm
No,
just
I won't. I'm going to make up a scenario very similar to one that we've experienced. So
okay.
let's say you've been through some trauma or tragedy in your life,
Okay.
and you were like, people have told you your whole life, Deidre, you need to put that in a book because that is
Right.
crazy. That could be a lifetime movie. You've been through some stuff. Put it in a book. Put it in a book. So
Right.
you decide, all right, everybody's telling me to put it in a book. So my intention is I want to put it in a book so I can tell my story.
Right.
that is not a great intention because
Right.
you
You
are
just want to tell your story. Oh,
exactly.
got you. And you know what? I hear that all the time. I hear that all the time, from people just close to me, and they think that, of course, their life story is exceptional, and
Mhm.
then they want to write a book. But like you said, that's a very good illustration of, but it has no intention for a greater purpose for everybody else, then it's not
Exactly.
going to
It's
sell.
a very selfish way to write. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, selfishness does not sell because the consumer is selfish. The consumer wants to get something out of it. So if you're producing something for consumer, you have to deliver for them, not for you. Because if it's for you, they don't want it. They don't care. It's not about them.
wow, but right, you're so correct. Wow, that's really an amazing thing you just said. Selfishness does not sell. Wow. Okay, so let's get to the create part of what
Mhm.
your team helps people with. How narrow or how broad is that spectrum?
So it really depends on, again, the intention, right? So once we determine what it is that we want the audience to walk away from, and we validated that intention, so we know for a fact that this topic is going to hit, we can then determine what should or should not go into the book. So if we're talking about fiction, I love working with fiction authors because their minds are so vast. There's
Yeah,
so much happening inside. It's everywhere. So
yeah,
it's sort of like a playground for me when we start working with a fiction author because we can play around with different things. We could pick things out, we can add it in, we can tweak it, we can remove it. There's so much that we can do because this
yeah.
person created a universe and we have
Right,
an
right,
entire
right.
universe to explore. So
Exactly.
that's easy. Now for nonfiction, it's a little bit difficult because
Yeah.
nonfiction authors like to talk forever. They are so wordy and they don't know how to be succinct. So
Okay.
when they're writing a book, they take forever to get to the point. So
Ah,
the whole purpose of a nonfiction book is to deliver the problem that the reader is having, then deliver the solution.
right.
That's the whole point. So you
Yeah.
have to figure out what problems do I need to hit and what solutions do I need to offer. Those are the main two things that are going in that book. We just have to determine what's the best way to tell it to make it exciting, so on and so
Right.
forth.
Right, right, exactly. Very good point. And then we get to the selling. Now, so many people have written books that I know, and I never thought of them as authors. And I'm like, oh, this person's writing a book. Okay. And I think it has a lot to do with that first part that we were talking about. They want to tell their thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I saw some dire statistics about people that have published their books, and it's on Amazon, about how many people really do sell. I think it was something crazy like a person only sells maybe like 9 books or something like that. It was really a horrible statistic, you know.
Yeah.
So how can you and your team help people that have put all this blood, sweat, and tears, followed everything you guys have said, and when we get to the selling part, how can I be satisfied that your publishing company is going to help me sell my books?
The thing that I think authors need to understand is that once you give birth to a book, you have to learn how to raise it. Unfortunately, they don't know what that entails. So the blood, sweat, and tears that you talked about is what they put into creating the book, but they need to put that same amount of blood, sweat, and tears into marketing.
Yeah.
To become an author, we like to call it authorpreneur. Authorpreneurship is when you take your book and recognize that it is a product and you have now created a business. If you don't treat it like a business, it won't pay you like a business. So if
Right.
you publish the book and you put it on Amazon, it's the same as creating a CD and selling it out of your trunk. You're just hustling and it ain't going to get anywhere. So you got to think bigger. You have to treat it like a business because you're not an author, you're an entrepreneur. And I think that's the difference between the two. Authors, they
Wow.
just write and they publish. Entrepreneurs, they write, publish, and sell. So what we do is we do take care of all of the marketing and we put authors through the transformation so they walk out the other side as an authorpreneur.
Wow, that is fantastic. Side note, Portia, I've spoken with many folks throughout this year who do some of the same things that you do, etc. Some of them are book coaches, some of them are publishers or whatever. But, all of you guys have been different. And so that's why I keep giving my listeners and readers all the information I can on various book coaches and publishing services, because every last one of the people I've talked to has been totally different. But you do set a very clear cut, common sense approach to this thing. So I'm really getting a lot of refreshing vibes from you and your advice. Now, let me ask, can a person who is an author, do they have to purchase into the entire scope of your business from the brainstorming to the selling? Or can they come in and purchase, okay, well, I want to meet with you guys to brainstorm, and that's all I need, let's say.
Right.
How do you break up the services?
Well, we have different programs depending on what's best for the author, but we don't let the author choose. So what happens is you have to apply. So once you apply, we go through your application and see, okay, who is this type of person? What do they want? What are they willing to put in to create? And then if your application is approved, then you get on a quick call one-on-one with me, and I ask you deeper questions to further determine whether or not you are eligible for any of the programs that I have.
Okay.
And then if I feel like you're eligible, we get on a third call. So you move over to the third round. And then that's when we talk about which program is best for you based on what it is that you want to create. But it's very important. The application process, that whole enrollment process, it's long, but it's intentional, because I can't just help any author, right? I can't help somebody who doesn't want to be an entrepreneur, because I know that even if you could afford, even if you paid for my program, I know you're just going to waste it afterwards because you're not going to go further. I don't want you to do that. I don't care how much money you have. So I need to make sure that I'm working with people that are open, that are honest. Me, I'm very, I don't know how to describe myself, but I'm very forward.
Yes.
Would you say clean cut? I'm straight to the point.
Yes.
Clear cut. There it is. I'm clear cut. So I'm straight to the point. So I work with people like that, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that me and my team and you as an author are producing books with impact, not books to feed your own ego or to give you the opportunity to tell your story. You could do that on a podcast, but a book that will last for generations. A book is meant to be a legacy. When you see books on the bookshelf, they're meant to be there for decades. Not just something that you put on Amazon and nobody reads and you just wasted your time, but something that's meant to live on the shelf, no matter how big or how small, fiction or nonfiction. It's meant to last generations. Those are the type of books we publish. And because of that, we can only work with very specific types of people.
Wow. That is phenomenal. That's really phenomenal. I can tell you're a good businesswoman. So now let's say this, I'm a person, I want to write a book. Hey, Portia, I'm in a hurry. Okay. So now I finished that application of yours and you let me in. I'm in a hurry. How long is it going to take?
90 days.
Okay.
It'll take 90 days, but if I know you're rushing, I'm like, sorry, you do not qualify for this program because you just want to get it. I'm sorry, you have to get the rejected stamp, because it's like you do not care about the process. You just want it done. I have plenty of other colleagues I could send you to, but this is not the program for you.
Wow. Okay. All right. Now, what about the price range? And you don't have to give a specific price, but what do the services range? What's the range of services?
I always recommend that anybody who potentially wants to enroll in the program be able to invest at least $500, at minimum $500. But it can go all the way up to 10, 15,000, depending
Yeah.
on what it is that you want to create and how far you're willing to go. Of course, it's over a period of time. So we imagine that authors are meant to be with us for the long haul.
Yeah.
We're going to be with you for decades. So that
Yeah.
figure of 15,000 is something that you'll probably be paying over a long period of time. But to get
Right.
started, a minimum of 500.
Got you. Now, you're in an international location, so I assume you work with people all over the world.
I do. I think we've had authors from 7 different countries, so I'm hoping
Mhm.
that that goes up.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, so and you have fiction and nonfiction. Can you give me, show me or tell me about your best-selling fiction and your best-selling nonfiction?
Well, we've not had a bestseller fiction because we shifted. So now we only work with coaches. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So you
I mean, we still have programs for different people who are different genres, but our main focus, all of our money, all of our investment is pouring into coaches who want true impact. But if I had to say my favorite, I mean, as far as the book itself and then the whole process and the transformation that that author took, Danelle Wright. She's one of the people who did a book about her life,
okay.
right? And so when we got on the initial call, I told her, I was like, listen, honey, we can't publish this book because you want to tell your story. We can give you a
Right,
podcast for that. So what do we want to do
right.
with this book? So we had these were intense sessions, and she transformed like right before my eyes. She became an entrepreneur because she stopped thinking about herself and her own story and started thinking about the people who need to read her story. So
Right.
she has gone through sexual abuse and
Yeah.
child abuse as a child, and then sexual abuse and physical abuse in her marriages.
Right.
And she was telling that story for her own personal healing. But as
Mm.
we went through the process, she started seeing other women who was impacted by even just the reels, the Instagram reels that she was doing talking about it. And she could
Right.
see all of these women were like, I need this, I need this, I need this. And she
Right.
found out that this isn't for her, this is for them. And so
Right.
we were able to, this is her book here. We were able
Mhm.
to fully transform her, and she got her book featured at different events. She was gifted tickets to the TD Jakes Leadership Summit,
Mhm.
and she was going to women's shelter with this book. And to
Yeah.
see the impact it was having on them changed everything for her. And that
Wow.
just makes me so happy because that's the type of impact that I want to be a part of. I don't want to
Right.
help people just publish, some dinky book that's
Right.
out there that has no impact. I want something that is going to change the lives of its readers.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Right.
this is that.
Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, so let's get to, like you said, you shifted. So if you're a coach, like, I don't know, give us example of the people that you are reaching now for your publishing business.
We have life coaches, wellness coaches, business coaches, spiritual coaches. That's fun.
Mhm.
That's always fun.
Mhm. Mhm.
Financial coaches. So
Yeah.
pretty much anybody who has been in the coaching business for over 5 years and they're just ready to level up. Like
Yeah.
they're kind of stuck in where they are, and it's fun and it's fine, but they want to
Right.
get on the TEDx stage. They want to get paid to speak. They want to become globally recognized. And a
Right.
book does that for you. Not just
Right.
because you put your story in it, but because you transformed readers from this one book.
Right.
That
Mhm.
elevates your coaching career. So we're working
Right.
with those individuals to take them to the next level.
Wow, that is fantastic. Oh, just this, I'm just getting goosebumps from interviewing you because I know you're a very serious businesswoman and you really have it together with your business plan and what you want to do and what can be done for other people. It's fantastic.
Thank
So
you.
let's see. I'm just trying to think. The coaches, yeah, so the leveling up, I can see that. I can see that would be the next step in their progress of being a coach. Yes,
Right.
most definitely. definitely. Wow. Well, if you weren't a coach, would you still work with some exceptional people?
Yes. You said if you weren't a coach?
Right. If the person wasn't a coach and they wanted to use your services after they listen to this and see how together your company is, I can see some
Yeah.
people like, well, please can't you work with me?
We do. Even if you're not a coach, you can still apply. Really, because it just boils down to what it is that you want to create for your readers, not just for you, but for the readers. What type of impact do you want to have? Fiction and nonfiction can have a great impact on its readers. So if that's what you're after, if you're ready to shift the thinking of an audience, if you want to become a thought leader because you published a book, then you are more than welcome to apply.
Wow. Well, thank you for that, Portia.
Thank you.
Well, folks, if you want to become an author, particularly if you are a coach, I am personally recommending right here, right now, that you seek out Portia Mysticque Steele and her publishing company. And now she's got a process, like she said. So, you might not make it through the process, but if you're serious about becoming an author and then eventually an authorpreneur, this service is for you. We will have Portia's business and social media contact information in the podcast show notes, as well as in the description box on our YouTube channel. Portia, it has been wonderful speaking to you today.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. That was fun. I mean, I'm always it's I like high energy. I like things that are fun. So I'm excited
Yes,
still.
yes, yes. Well, it was wonderful. And thank you so much for all the work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deidre. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. We'll talk to you soon.